What's up, everybody? It's your boy Wes Grant. You're watching Suburban Nerd. This is the channel where I give my nerd reviews on today's nerd news. I also give reviews on movies, and today's movie I'm giving a review on is Bumblebee. And I know I watched this movie, like, they had an early screening about like 2 weeks ago, but I wasn't sure if I should put out a review, but I should have put it out back then. But regardless, you guys are gonna see this review, how many few see this, but this is gonna be my opinion of whatever this movie is. Now, I'm just gonna start off by saying I liked the movie. Like, I liked it a lot compared to, because the Transformers franchise has been losing a lot of fans after Michael Bay, just started making it trash after trash after trash. The first one I liked. The first Transformer was Shia LaBeouf. I liked that. Then the next one, Transformers 2, I hated because they were just moving way too fast. They didn't have the weight or the movements of the first one. They were moving like freaking ninjas. Like, there was no weight to them. Like, they weren't huge machines. And then Optimus Prime, when he was struggling with the whole Autobots are struggling with Megatron, the first movie, all of a sudden Optimus Prime is whipping Megatron's ass with two other bigger robots and ripping their arms on, whipping his ass. Like, I was just like, yo, this is crazy. And then after that, it just got worse and worse and worse. Now, this one, luckily, isn't being directed by Michael Bay. This is being directed by Travis Knight. If you guys it sounds familiar, that name. He directed the Cubo and the Two Strings, which got a lot of acclaim. And so he took this over and put his own little feel on it. And as far as the director, he's known for making very, meaningful movies as far as the relationships and making you feel the feels. And that's what he does with this movie. Bumblebee, he's great. He's definitely kicks ass, but at the same time, there's some things I'm gonna say that a little bit of issues. I'll say it later in the show. But as far as the story, he did a great job with the story. Haley Steinfeld plays the main protagonist, who's Charlie Watson, who gets her first car, and because she's apparently, this is a backstory with that. She had a father. Father died, and when the father was alive, she worked on a car with him. And that's what, like, she knows, has a lot of knowledge on cars. So she's been working on this car, trying to get the parts and trying to make it fix. And she feels that the way she can really remember her father is if she finishes and fixes a car. Now, she's also, like, she goes to the junkyard or something like that and gets these parts. And that's where she finds Bumblebee. And Bumblebee, she asks the guy if she could take him, and he says yes, for your birthday. So she says if she could get it working, he's mine. He was like, okay, whatever, but he let her keep it. She drove her home, and that's when you see in the trailers where she checks underneath, finds out that, oh snap, this is a robot, and he transforms in front of her, and that's where the movie ensues. You got a main protagonist who is played by John Cena, who is Agent Burns, which I don't know how to take that last name, but whatever. Anyways, he's a main protagonist, and he's chasing after Bumblebee throughout this movie, because he has a first encounter with Bumblebee in the beginning of the movie where you see Cybertron and Optimus Prime, and the whole thing's going crazy, and that part of the movie was amazing. Cybertron looked amazing, and like I said, there's other parts I had little issues. I'll talk about it later, but Cybertron looked amazing. Bumblebee gets shot away, crash lands on Earth, and it's right when they're doing a training with John Cena's character, Agent Burns, and then some people get hurt, and then they start chasing after him, and then that's when all of a sudden Dropkick and Shatter show up and start just murking everybody, just destroying everything. John Cena gets away, but in a fight, that's when Bumblebee, actually, he's fighting, it looked like Starscream in a way, but it wasn't, but he's fighting a jet plane, whatever, Decepticon, and he's asking, where's Optimus Prime? And Bumblebee ain't saying nothing. He was like, oh, you won't talk? Let's make it permanent. And then that's when he rips out Bumblebee's voice box, and that's why Bumblebee doesn't talk. So, you see Bumblebee get dropped down the side of a mountain, thing goes off, but I think Bumblebee leaves a bomb on him right before this happens, so the guy that ripped out his vocal cords gets blown up, Bumblebee falls down, and then the guys at the military see chasing after him, and he turns into a Volkswagen Beetle, and then he just that. One problem, one of the things I'm going to just say right now, if they were chasing after Bumblebee, and they saw Bumblebee could change into vehicles, and they saw him change into a Jeep, why they would let a Volkswagen Beetle that's sitting just parked at the lake This, like, they wouldn't investigate that. I don't understand how how Bumblebee made it to the junkyard for Haley Steinfeld's character to find him. That doesn't explain. He just, years later, you know, like months later, something like that. Because they make it seem like he's old, like he's been there for a while, when they say it landed in 1987, but, you know, it's still in the 1980s or whatever when she finds him. So, I don't know, that kind of lost me. But the relationship between Charlie and Beetle. This movie, like I said, I'm gonna tell you, this movie had a lot of people like John Cena, Haley Steinfeld, but I'm looking through, I was looking through the IMDb, and I was, even if you Google the cast of Beetle, the one that's overlooked the most is this guy called George Lendenborg Jr., and that's the main guy you see in the black light-skinned guy with the little afro that you see in the trailer. Why he's all the way down on the list, I have no idea. He's like the other main guy in the movie along with Haley. Sure, it's Haley's movie, but all these other people way before him, and he's at the bottom or the back. Like, I don't understand. This dude needs to talk to his agent, because even though he's like, he may be new to the scene, it makes no sense why he is so far off. Because I like this guy, I like this character. He was a nerd. He sort of had the crush, and they had this lot of comical moments. Like, you can see he wanted to talk to her, and then like he walks in, and that's when he finds out about you know Beetle and all that. But I liked his character in this movie, as well as I like Haley Steinfeld. I liked her character. Haley Steinfeld's a great actress, and the way she plays this innocent, I just love. Now, as far as the rest of the story, I had little issue with the way Travis Knight played Beetle, or Bumblebee, as far as having him be like a lost puppy. Like, Bumblebee could kick ass, ripping voice box or whatever, but he had the scene where, Bumblebee gets inside the house, and it's like all these movies that you've seen where a dog or something gets let alone in the house and destroys everything. Because that's what Bumblebee does. And then, the guy, named Bimo, or whatever his name is in the movie, actually sees, and then he calls Charlie to come back home to see what's going on. Now, I like the relationship between Bumblebee and Charlie, but like I said, it felt a little too forced. Like, oh yeah, this is like he's like a lost puppy. Like, he's a giant robot. He even though like sort of his memory might have been shot or rebooted, but it's like he's came back as a child, and maybe that's what they were going for. Maybe they were going for, since he had to reboot because of getting in that fight, he had to reboot, and he became back as like a baby or as an infant, and he's just learning to. And if that's the case, then sure, I live aside. But as far as me seeing it, I just felt that if he was pushed, it was kind of pushed on you way too hard. Like, oh yeah, this is like a lost puppy or a lost child. Now, the rest of the movie, like I said, I loved it. As far as compared to the other Transformer movies, so much better. So, like, the action, when it came to the action, they got the action down good. The dude, the nerd dude, he didn't all of a sudden become a superhero. He was doing his thing. Bumblebee was definitely kicking ass all over the place. Burns, he was going after like Bumblebee pretty hardcore for someone, but he had his issues with robots in general. And the best thing I like about Burns' character, they have the scene where Shatter and Kit and Dropkick roll up in the desert, and the military are waiting for them, right? And they was like, yes, we're the Decepticons, the peacemakers of Cybertron, and we're looking for this fugitive. And then you got the scientists like, let's work with them. And they were like, we need access to your satellites. So going back to the base, John Cena's talking to the general or the major or whatever, and he was like, what do you think about it? And John Cena's like, they have Decepticon they have Decept in their name. Decepticons. I don't trust them. And I'm like, yes, thank you. Finally someone with common sense. If something's named Decepta and then Con, Decept and then Con, why would you trust that? It's in their names, and he doesn't, and I love that. But except they still give him access because they're like, they're trying to make it seem as if this is where the internet came from they was like, we've got a web of information thanks to these Decepticons, because they brought all satellites and all these things together just so they could find Bumblebee in the energy source. And that, like I said, this movie had a lot of funny moments. A lot of funny moments with Bumblebee as well. Not some just stupid peeing on someone's head like they did in the first Transformers. Actually, legit funny moments where he just pounds on a girl's like the girl that was picking on Haley or Charlie at the cliff, and he just pounds her car and rips it to shreds. And it was funny. And they had a lot of funny, loving moments in this movie. And like I said, the action was great. Now, is anything else as far as this movie? I'm just gonna say that, you know, I don't want to pick and like gripe too much, because even though those little issues I had, I'm still gonna give this movie a really good grade. Why? Because it was very entertaining, and that's what the movie is supposed to do, as opposed to watching a Michael Bay movie where you just get frustrated. And like the one with Mark Wahlberg, all of a sudden he's holding a gun blade sword, and he's holding off a robot that's slamming it down at him. That made no sense. Like, you're not superhuman. That should have just chopped you in half. Your own sword should have just chopped you from the impact. And with this, she didn't all of a sudden become some superhero. She was just a regular person running around climbing, and like she used to be like gymnastics for swimming, so she had a little heart to her. So that's one thing I definitely liked about it. Her diving into the water at the end after Bumblebee, I'm like, what are you gonna do? You can't bring him up, but hey, she went to see if he was okay. And I understand that. But other than that, the rest of the movie, like I said, was really good. Other than them not giving respect to George Lindenborg, because he's like in the lowest tier, even though he was right there next to Haley Steinfeld most of this movie. Hopefully, like I said, get a new agent, bro, because it's travesty. It's a travesty. Not Travis Knight. It's a travesty that you ain't getting that respect, because I liked you. Especially the end. Like, you see they're trying to start a little, like, you know, there's going to be like maybe a little romance, and he tries to kind of touch her, hold her hand at the end. She's, whoa. I'm not there yet, you know? And that's one thing I really like, because they didn't just follow the whole trope of all of a sudden they've been through this, all of a sudden they're in love, you know? It takes time. Like, if you guys want to check out a review I did for this movie, Mortal Engines, where all of a sudden in 2 days, I think 2 days time, the main protagonist, they're in love. Oh my god, that movie is trash. But we're talking about Bumblebee, getting back to this, and now I'm going to give it a grade, and the grade I'm actually going to give it is a B+. I would have given an A if it just wasn't so hardly pushed on the whole, you know, the things. And, oh yeah, the other part that I didn't like too much in the end with the cyborg, with Cybertron, is like there's this part where, you know, Optimus Prime, you know, runs and jumps off, like not even planning, but somehow it just lands on a robot. But this is G1. Sure, everyone loves this the whole G1, Generation 1 design. But why do they look like the robots they are on Cybertron before they get to America? That didn't make sense. Why does Optimus Prime look like a truck before he gets to the U.S. Bumblebee too? I'm sure they made Bumblebee look cute with those little antennas, but I don't know how they're looking like they're Generation 1 before they get to, you know, get to America or get to Earth. So, whatever, how's that work? So be it, you know, so be it. But other than that, like I said, I like the movie a lot. So like I said, B+ is what this movie's gonna get for whatever little minor gripes I got, but overall it's a great movie. You should watch it. And that's pretty much my review. So remember to, if you like this review, put on those notifications, like this video, check out my, subscribe actually, check out my last movie review, and check out my playlist of movie reviews. Remember, I'm Wes Grant, you've been watching Suburban Nerd, and you've just been notified. Catch you guys on the next review.